Good afternoon, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Revel No Shorty, and apologies for running a little bit late today. It's been a very busy morning, and it took me a very long time to read Legion of X. I wasn't going to read this one. I was going to review Pearl. Don't mind admitting it. But in the end, I thought, you know what, I've actually kind of enjoyed some of the X-Men stuff recently, and the ones I haven't enjoyed, I've at least enjoyed talking about. And I am going to enjoy talking about this one, but some of it's going to be about content, not necessarily just the writing and the art, and it's political, and it's going to lead into some quite left-wing kind of things here, and I worry that some people are going to be annoyed by that and maybe get offended. And I think if I get into some really deep takes on this one, now I'm going to have people insulting me, and I don't need that. So if this is not your cup of tea, totally walk away from it. I will tell you right now, it's a well-written comic book that looks fantastic. It knows exactly when to bring the colours, and the artwork is fantastic when it needs to be, but not overly detailed and over the top throughout. But those are minor things in terms of what the content of this story is about. Because for a long time now, Marvel has been totally reinventing the X-Men stuff, starting with Hickman's run. And unlike a lot of reinventions of core titles, it actually feels authentic. It feels like this is a genuine big change and stuff is different. And one of those big changes, one of those big differences is the fact that they are making their own laws. They are a sovereign state and even have a sovereign planet of their own. And when you have laws, you kind of by necessity have to have somebody enforcing said laws. And that leads to interesting conversations about what would the police force be in a utopia. And Spurrier writes politically. He has been writing politically for a long time. I'm not necessarily saying that's all he does, but he knows when to bring it and he does it quite well. In this particular occasion, we are talking about a utopic ideal. And a police force in that would operate the same way we'd imagine them today. Now, obviously, I'm only speaking from my personal experiences and a little bit from what I've encountered doing some reading. Most police forces that I'm aware of tend to exist to maintain political primacy of the predominant racial groupings and the wealthy. Ideally, there's a Venn diagram with a big circle in the middle, which is that, and that's mainly what the police forces care about. And yes, you may disagree on this one. I totally get it. Feel free to. It's the way the debate works. But Spurrier is trying to take a different take on that. He's looking at the idea that if you don't have that kind of political primacy group, the idea that there is a select few within society who deserve to be better off and are constantly worried that those below them are going to take it away, then you don't really need that kind of police force. The biggest thing in this is the fact that you should be free to do things as long as it doesn't impinge the freedom of anyone else or actively harm anyone else. Even the active harm isn't really that big a deal when people can come back from the dead. However, there is still an issue of consent. Killing somebody because you want to kill them but they don't want to be killed, that's the problem. If you engage in gladiatorial combat, both knowing that there's a chance of death and understanding the risks inherent with it and the pain that comes with it, then killing somebody shouldn't really be that much of a big deal. You'll come back, everything will be fine. It's the same with theft in a post-scarcity environment. Taking something from somebody else, you're just like, well, fine, I'll just go and get another one then. It's mildly inconvenient, and again, consent for it should be the issue. In the laws that exist in this world, Spurrier has added some extra little bits on there from the version of Nightcrawler that he's got, which literally have these kind of things spelled out that consent matters. Spurrier's Nightcrawler is interesting as well. He's gone through a crisis of faith recently, and literally this comic book also goes and hangs out with a god. It's a lot of fun. So with all these highfalutin political ideas, can it still be fun? And that is absolutely it can. Yes. There is a joke that the mutant forget-me-not keeps getting forgotten, even though he has got a partner because he's a cop. And there is some rather beautiful artwork inside some mind spaces, which looks absolutely stunning and really shows off the coloring in this one. I mean, the artwork is great throughout, but they don't waste that. They save it for key moments and then drop in some absolute blinders. Juggernaut's first appearance is spectacular, but the rest of the time he's on page, you don't really have to worry about him too much. He's just another character on there. They spend a lot of time just doing the backdrops of Krakoa and I want to say Mars. It's not that Araco, I think it might be pronounced. The artwork exists and does a very good job of adding to the story. It's all done in service to the story, and it is a good story as well. The dialogue between the characters is fantastic. There's a lot of fun to be had with. I want to say non-verbal communication. That's not quite right. People are talking to each other. But in the same way that sometimes an expression can change meaning, putting a pause in certain places, the way you arrange a sentence together, technically you're not using the words you're saying to say something, you're using the gaps and how you say it. So yes, it's kind of non-verbal, but also verbal communication. Spurrier does this masterfully, and there are so many really good examples of it. Again, bleeding into romance and humor very, very effectively, and there's political just machinations going on as well, all of which requires this kind of like really well-crafted, intricate writing. Every beat seems done to perfection, and I genuinely enjoy this one. Probably one of my favorite X-Men books I've read for a while, and I'm genuinely looking forward to reading more of it. That's it for me today, though. In fact, probably for the week. I'll be back next week. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.